Welcome to Live Better Longer. I'm your host, Bill Borton. My guest this week is Jean Brooks, president of Retire to Life. After a long career in banking, she left in 2011 to pursue other opportunities, and her creative juices and her passions ended up coming together, and she formed Retire to Life.
Absolutely.
Welcome, Jean.
Bill, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. So tell me, what is Retire to Life?
Retire to Life is a program that looks at the non-financial aspects of retirement. So many people think only about saving enough money for retirement, which of course is very, very important.
Indeed.
Very few people think about how they're going to fill their time once they have, I say it's almost literally like stepping off a cliff and your life changes totally, and if you've not planned for it, it's not going to be a very happy transition at all. What they found is most people will say, well, I call it the golf, gardening, or grandchildren aspect of retirement. That's what they're going to do, or else they're going to read, or they're going to clean out all their drawers and closets, or a number of things. But let's face it, you can only play golf so many times a day.
Yeah, it's kind of tough in the winter too.
Yes, it does. It's a little tight. And the same thing with fishing or any of your sports. It really is not all that time consuming. Gardening. Sometimes people say, oh God, I wish I could get out in the garden and just pull those weeds. But when you have the time to do it, maybe those weeds aren't as enticing as they used to be. Grandchildren grow up, they become teenagers, and they do not relish spending a lot of time with mama and papa.
The grass is always greener.
Yes,
you know?
it is.
You always want what you don't have.
That's absolutely true. And so it really is imperative that people plan their time and make sure that there's something that they're going to do when they retire. So this is why I created Retire to Life. Many years ago, I was with a college friend, and we were driving, and I said, Judy, you've been teaching for 30 years. When are you going to retire? And she said, Jean, I am afraid to retire because I don't know what I'm going to do with my time. At least she had thought about it, but I looked at her at that point, and I was dumbfounded. I thought, how could you not have given this any thought? I mean, she's a bright, educated, smart, active woman, and she was afraid to retire.
Well, you were teaching. My wife's a retired teacher. You get programmed into the cycle, and it's just rinse and repeat.
That's right.
Year after year.
And truly, when she finally did retire, she still went part-time in teaching.
I know a lot of teachers go to become substitutes because they just can't let go.
That's right. That's absolute truth. But the more I talked to more people after I'd had that conversation with her, the more I found that she was not unusual. That so many people out there don't take the time to think about what they're going to do to retire. So I investigated. I thought, okay, there has to be a solution to this. But there were very few books at that time written on the subject. Now there are dozens and dozens of them.
Well, we have the wave of baby boomers that are aging out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I thought, okay, you've got books, but not everyone will read the book if given to them, and not everyone will follow through with everything the book suggests. This is why I decided to create a workshop so that people would come and have at least absorb some of the ideas of the workshop. Whether they absorb the whole thing or not, you can't control. But when they're in the room with 30, 50 other people, and ideas start flowing around as they do the exercises, at least they're going to go home with something.
Well, now that you're communicating with them with more just the written page, you're appealing to all their senses.
Yes, that's right, that's right. So we designed the exercises to make people think outside of the box. I hate that term, but I don't know how else to put it, to make them reach beyond what they would normally think. So many of us were forced into boxes. We never got to follow the paths or the hopes or the dreams that we had when we were growing up. And suddenly, career obligations or from family concerns and matters, and you just keep going into a smaller and smaller box in the world. So to get them outside of that is really very important. One of the first exercises we take them through is an analysis of what they do and do not like about their job, or even if they're already retired, about their current situation. And from that list, we can look at things that they might want to carry over into their retirement. If you were a mentor at your job and you loved that part of it, that's something that's very easily can transition into retirement. And it doesn't have to be another employment situation. There are lots of organizations out there that would love to have mentors. The same thing with if you love keeping track of finances, or perhaps you've been in charge of people and you never want to manage another person in your life. It's really important to look at those things so that you can find things that you can take over into your retirement that will make it the time meaningful and purposeful.
Well, it's
to
an
you.
interesting approach, Jean, because many people, if not most people, are really clear about what they don't want.
Yes.
But knowing what they do want is sometimes a big question mark.
That's right, that's right. And so we make them not only think about that, but so many other aspects of the retirement. Where are you going to live and why? So many people, husbands and wives, if they haven't discussed this and we take them through that exercise, they come out with two totally different answers on where they want to live and why.
Which means if they're going to stay together, one of them may start having some resentment.
That's right, that's right. So, if one of them wants to live in a warm weather climate because that's, golf and fishing and all of that, and the other one wants to go skiing and, paint watercolors of mountains, that's two different lifestyles. And this is the discussion that people just so often don't have. We talk about your health. How is your health going to impede your retirement? You can have all the money in the world, and if you don't have your health, there is no way that you're going to be able to enjoy it to the extent that you thought.
That's one of the major premises of my whole live better longer idea, is that money without health or health without money just doesn't work.
That's right. It really doesn't. So making people think about what they're not thinking of, to make them really analyze what retirement is actually going to be like for them, and then making decisions appropriately. You know what one of the biggest ones is? Who are you going to be? Now, I know that sounds strange, but so many times we are introduced to people in terms of what we do. This is Jim. He is the regional manager of ABC Widget Corporation, in charge of sales for Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware.
And that's a role, that's not who he is.
Yes. So nobody ever says, well, this is Jim and he has a wonderful sense of humor and he's very creative and he's generous to a fault. Well, who is he really? And if all he can see in the mirror every morning is that regional manager, he's really missing a huge part of who he is and what he could bring to his retirement to make it more purposeful and meaningful for him.
So how does this workshop format work? When people come, what do they expect?
The format is designed as two-hour sessions. And in between, there is one very long exercise. So I had originally in my mind...
Homework?
Homework.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yes, absolutely. I'd originally thought a week in between would be the perfect timing, but it can be done in a shorter time span. And at the end of the at the end of the 2 weeks, of the 2 sessions, they will come out with a to-do list or a retirement outline and a plan. We take all of the answers they came up with from all of those exercises and put them all together in a grid so that they can plot out what it is that is going to be interesting to them, what they need to do to make that happen, and the action steps that are going to carry them forward. We even ask them to write down a couple of long-term goals, and they put a date on it. We don't, but they have to, because this is all so personal. But sometimes just writing something down makes it more actionable than just saying it out loud.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. So
these workshops are held where? All around the
all
region,
around.
all around the Philadelphia area?
Yes, wherever we particularly like to be invited into a place where they might want to offer this to their clients as an added on. Since we go very hand in hand with since we're non-financial, financial people can see this as an opportunity to give something to their clients that will enhance them. And once they really discover what it is that their clients want to do, then they can help them make those plans financially.
Well, that makes great sense, collaborating with advisors like that, because they may be really good at managing portfolios, but not so good at having those softer conversations.
Yes, yes.
So, well, I know that Retire to Life is taking on a new format in addition to workshops.
Yes.
I'd like to talk to you more about that, but we're going to
Okay.
take a break right now for a word from our sponsors. This is Bill Borton. We'll be back in a moment with more Live Better Longer.
Love my style, I'm dancing tonight. My smile from pearly white side. Love myself, love my style. Pearly white, love your smiles. From teens to grown-ups faces, they can change your life. All ages and all faces, your smile from pearly white. Love yourself, love your style. Pearly white, love your smile.
For independent living for seniors age 62 and over, People Inc. offers safe, maintenance-free apartments across Western New York. The affordable rent is income-based. For more information, call People Inc. Senior Living at 817-9090.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
This is Bill Borton. Welcome back to Live Better Longer. I'm here with my guest, Jean Brooks, president of Retire to Life. So, Jean, I know that your Retire to Life workshops have become so popular that people from outside of the Philadelphia area have been saying, what about us? And that I know you want to be able to expand this to a much broader audience. And how do we do that these days? Well, we go online.
That's right.
So tell me what the next generation of Retire to Life is going to look like.
Well, I'm still in the decision-making process, Bill, but I will tell you one thing. The first step I'm taking is to set up a YouTube channel, and I'm interviewing people who are retired and doing really interesting and unusual things with their retirement.
I know I've sent a few people your way.
Yes, you have, and it's really remarkable, all the various venues and avenues that they have opened up. I have interviewed a New York City cop who's writing his memoirs. I have interviewed a lawyer who is now becoming a screenwriter. And he's a screenwriter because he wants to write a movie based on a book that another friend of mine has written. So there are so many avenues out there, and I've had the time of my life going around I've been here and in North Carolina down to Texas, I'm going to Florida, interviewing people that I think can just bring another aspect to people's retirement. And then from there, I'm going to put the workshop into a webinar format.
Okay.
I don't know how right now, but that will be a challenge for me. That's one of the things that I think people should do in their retirement is do something that's going to challenge you.
Yes.
Not just the same old, same old.
I understand.
Yes, it makes you broaden your whole aspect.
I decided
of the
not
world.
to retire at all, and I'm just
See?
trying to help my generation live better
See?
longer.
That's
you
all
know?
you need to do is
Yeah.
find a way to do that. And so we will have probably an on-demand webinar that people can do by themselves at their leisure. And then we'll have a live webinar that will allow people then to ask questions online and just have more of that group conversation that is such a highlight of the face-to-face workshops because people learn from listening to each other.
So I know online communities of people who have participated in these types of learnings also become popular, and it's a way for people to stay in touch and support one another as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm just looking forward to this new adventure and how it's going to take me up to that next step. I really want people from all over the United States to be able to participate and get to know each other, and who knows, find friends that they can visit back and forth with.
So I know when we first started talking about doing the show, you told me that you wanted to get at least 30 videos in the can
Yes.
before
Yes.
you rolled it out.
Yes.
And I think you told me just this morning you're up to about 20.
I have
and have a
20.
few more scheduled.
I have 5 more scheduled, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so what's the purpose of these videos ultimately? What do you see using them for? You're going to post them on a website, obviously, or put a link to your YouTube channel.
Right.
So, but what are people going to experience? Why would they want to watch these videos? To see if they see themselves in them somehow?
Yes, yes, because when you say, okay, here is she was a teacher, and now she's a professional storyteller. How did she come to that? Is that something I would be interested in doing? So let me investigate that further. You have a gentleman who worked in corporate America all of his life, and now he is writing books on equestrian therapy.
Really?
Yes, and is helping it volunteering out at a barn that works with mostly children with autism, but also some PTSD patients and things like that. So I want people to understand that they can do good and challenge themselves at the same time, and make them think more about, well, what's just comfortable for me, but no, what's going to be challenging to me, and also support people outside of my normal circle.
When you think about it, retirement means different things to different people.
Yes.
And I think 3 basic categories come to mind. You have that person perhaps who was in that job long term, maybe facing a pension, and has that date in mind, and they've been counting it down for years and they just can't wait.
Yes.
And they're ready to just go.
Yes,
They may not know what they're going to, but they're ready to go on a date.
yes,
Then you have someone who is thinking that they're going to work longer, and then their employer has other ideas, and the next thing you know, they're out early, and talk about scared.
I understand that one well.
Absolutely. And then you have the folks who don't ever want to retire. They may want to let go of the rat race that they're in, the corporate cult, as one of my friends calls it.
Right.
But they don't know how to take something they're passionate about, an avocation like equestrian
Yes,
therapy,
yes, yes.
and turn that into something where they can help people and then maybe even make some money at the same time.
Yes, yes. I have often said that if you need a part-time job in retirement, and there are those who do need some little extra income to help them get from month to month, that it should be something that you love doing.
You mean as opposed to being a Walmart greeter?
Yes, yes, yes. So, I mean, I have a friend who had, she needed to find a job. And because her passion was reading, she thought she would enjoy working at a bookstore. But she had been an executive director of an organization for 30 years. And what she found out is that she didn't take orders well from other people.
I can relate to that.
Yes, yes.
That's why I'm self-employed.
That's right. And so she found a job actually going out and buying groceries for people that allows her to get out, earn a little extra money. She interacts with her clients because a lot of them will call her back. These are people that are housebound for various and different reasons. And she's having the time of her life because then it leaves her time to do her other things, like run up and down the beach with her dog.
I hear you. Now I have a friend who does pet sitting.
Yes.
And can do it on her schedule.
Yes.
And so I mean, there's any number of ways you can do things to serve mankind.
Yes.
Or have fun.
Yes.
Or explore different areas of creativity.
Yes.
And again, maybe even turn it into a business.
That's right. That's one of the big activities that we have in the workshop. I have a list of over 300 activities, and we make people go through them fast, without thinking, without doing anything but saying, "Oh, would that be interesting?" Check, highlight, and then go back and look at them more closely. And usually the conversation is, "I never really thought about that, but I could have fun doing that." So yeah, it really does make sense to analyze what you love to do, what you don't love to do, and how you're going to incorporate that into your retirement. It's
So
simple
tell
as
me,
that.
tell me more about these videos. How long are they?
Oh, not long at all.
Okay.
Because I don't want people to have to watch something a very long time. Anywhere from 3 to 8 minutes tops.
Okay.
I aim for 5.
And now, what are you including in the video? What if people watch a video or two, what are they going to see?
They are going to see a person talk about what they did, what they're doing now, how they made that transition and why,
Okay.
and what they're getting out of it, and what kind of joy it brings them, or what kind of satisfaction, a sense of satisfaction in doing something that is meaningful for them. And then I ask everyone at the end the very same question. If you were going to give a piece of advice to someone who's starting to think about retirement, what would it be? 99.9% of the time, it's plan. Plan something you're going to do in your retirement. Don't just step off the cliff, because if you do that, in 6 months, I don't care, you're going to be bored out of your mind.
And people who do plan and have something to look forward to live longer.
Yes, they do.
And they live longer better.
Yes, yes, you know.
So Jean, in the time that we have left,
Yes.
I'm guessing that you wouldn't mind if some of our viewers who are retired and had a story to tell contacted you.
Would love to have that happen.
So how do people get in touch with you if they would like to do that?
They can email me at jean@retiredtolife.net.
.net, not
.net.
.com.
No, .net.
Okay.
It's Jean, Jean, @retiredtolife.net.
Well, wonderful.
That's-
So, Jean, we have to wrap now.
Okay.
As time goes so fast.
It does.
But I just want to thank you for coming on the show.
It's been a joy.
And so again, to our viewers, if you'd like to reach Jean, it's jean@retiredtolife.net. This is Bill Borton. I'll be back next Tuesday with more Live Better Longer here at RVN TV. Thank you.